that was excellent. All three tracks, very, very, very good. But this one definitely is the standout. I think maybe because of its length and just the effect that it has. I love that bass groove that Roger is doing along with the vocals. That really, really gets you, man. Fantastic overall. I love the dip in the middle where they're just almost at a dead still, and then they start to build up again. Man, I tell you, these guys are just so unique, you know, in what they produce, where music is concerned, where the psychedelic is concerned. Man, I tell you, nobody out there like Pink Floyd. They are just so in tune. That's the thing about them that I really, really enjoy watching. Now, it may seem like they're just not doing anything. To some people, it might just be a boring affair, but they are just really, really in tune. They are connected. They are cerebral. And you talk about being the right musicians for a band. You know, you have to be cut from a certain type of fabric, man, to be able to gel like this, create these effects, create these moods, and just be in the zone. And, you know, they've shown that they can be in the zone for days, for weeks. I mean, Pompeii in itself, just them spending so much time together in that Coliseum and just doing their thing, you know, I mean, they're just in their work, you know. That is a fantastic thing. That's a great blessing, let me tell you, just to be so into your work. I admire the hell out of these guys, and I envy them to be so into their work, man. You know, fantastic, man. Pink Floyd, absolutely one of the greatest. Yeah, I always say this shit, man, whenever I do a Pink Floyd reaction, that I gotta get more done. And I'm gonna say that again too, but yeah, you know, the timeline of this is really, really interesting. Francisco, thanks for sending me these, because I'm looking at the timeline. So this is in between, right after the Sid years. I'm looking at how young they are. This was 69, 70. So this is just before their big breakout, Dark Side of the Moon. So this is in between Piper and Dark Side of the Moon, right on the heels of Sid's departure. So they are just about to really launch. And I wonder, with Sid in mind, if he had all of his faculties in place, because I know that he was very talented, very creative. He seemed to get along well with everyone when he's together, and he was a great player as well. Even with the addition of David, if Sid was still there, here's my question. If Sid was still there with the addition of David, do you think that they would have still enjoyed as great a level of success as they had? That's my question. Of course, you're always going to have a little bit of knocking of heads and wills and all of this sort of thing. But aside from that, once they got their shit going, how would they have done where it comes to their level of success? Would Sid's presence have helped them to achieve that same level that they did, maybe even greater? Or would it have hampered it and maybe caused them to kind of, I don't know, go by the wayside? Answer that for me. How do you think, if Sid was still with them, how do you think that they would have fared? That's what I was thinking. Hey, fantastic stuff, man. Let's do a little read on Embryo and get a little background. Yeah, decent amount here. So, Embryo. Embryo is a song by Pink Floyd. It was a concert staple from 1970 to 71, but a full band version was never released on any Pink Floyd studio album. A studio version did appear in 1970 on the rare multi-artist album Picnic. A breath of fresh air. Its next appearance was in 1983 on Pink Floyd's own compilation works. It then appeared in 2007 on A Breath of Fresh Air, a Harvest Records anthology from 69 to 74. one of only 3 tracks from the original sampler album to be included in the similarly titled anthology. Multiple renditions of Embryo appeared on the band's 2016 box set, The Early Years from 65 to 72. 2 versions were also included on the smaller 2-disc compilation, The Early Years from 67 to 72. History. The studio version of the song, recorded in 68, is a quiet, almost acoustic piece sung by David Gilmour, lasting less than 5 minutes. This studio take has not appeared on any Pink Floyd album except Works, a US compilation. A short version, similar to the studio cut, was recorded live at a BBC session on the 2nd of December in 68. Embryo was finally granted widespread release in 2016-17 Early Years box set. The set includes the original studio recording, the 68 BBC live session, and other live performances from 1970 and 71. Okay. The earliest known instance of Embryo played live was in 18 January 1970 in Croydon. It was Jeez, man. Okay, that's what they're trying to say. It was far longer than the studio take, lasting 12 minutes. It more closely resembled the studio take in arrangement, with Gilmour playing the acoustic rhythm part on electric guitar and Wright playing the piano and organ parts on the vibraphone. It closed with a reprise of the first verse. Embryo was played in most shows from the 18th of January 1970 to the 20th of November in 71. The last time Embryo was played was on the 20th of November in 71 at the conclusion of the band's North American tour. On this occasion, the middle jam section was interrupted when Wright's Hammond suddenly failed, resulting in the remaining 3 members of the band continuing the jam for an extra 15 minutes while waiting for the instrument to be repaired. This improvisation included elements of the other Pink Floyd songs, most notably what appears to be an instrumental version of Breathe, as well as the intro to Raving and Drooling, the 1974-75 precursor to Sheep, and a rough Any Color You Like. Okay, and that is Wikipedia Song Fact info for Embryo. A really excellent mix of songs, man. Francisco, thank you very, very much. These are excellent tunes, and all of them, like I said, just in that timeline, right after Sid's departure and right before their really big breakout, Dark Side of the Moon years. So really, really cool. I really have to go back in time and research some of their earlier stuff. But first, I better finish what I've got to finish with the Live in Pompeii series, both from 71 and then 2016, David Gilmour's 2016. So there's a lot of Pink Floyd left that I've got to cover. And anyway, hey, this was excellent. This was a really, really nice walkthrough, checking out some of their earlier stuff. Excellent. They were cerebral from the word go, man. All right, so let me just scroll down here. Check my notes before I bounce, man. Okay, so yeah, complimentary quads. I am really trying to catch up and get a lot of my complimentary quads done. As a lot of you know, I'm starting a new channel soon in the next week or two, so I want to get as many complimentary quads done as I possibly can. Bill Douglas here next, Antoine, Zipiter, Charles, Michael, Ford. So I'll get a lot of these done before the channel is up, most of them anyway. I've got about 10 or so. And then, of course, you know, we're going to continue with complimentary quads on the Classic Rock platform, and as well on the new Beyond Classic platform. But, you know, it's just going to be business as usual. And a lot of you also know that I'm suspending my Artist of the Month feature temporarily, just to see how things settle and see what kind of time I'm going to have once things are kind of up and moving. With work it becomes difficult because sometimes depending on the job that I do, on the traveling that I do, sometimes I'm shooting on the road and whatnot. I can log as many as 55 hours a week at work, and so then trying to put things in place gets really, really difficult. Each video that I do usually is in the ballpark of about 4 hours to process. So time sometimes is really, really hard. But I made a New Year's resolution: no matter what comes May, I'm going to definitely be on top of my complimentary quads. So I'm going to hit my complimentary quads, man. I'll find a way. Anyway, hey, fantastic. I gotta say again, Pink Floyd, they were masterful from the very beginning. I would like to go back to a time when they were just not, and kind of get because I remember doing Piper at the Gates when Sid was still with them. And that was excellent too. That was a great cerebral trip. Good quality of musicianship. He was a great guitarist and all. Unfortunately, that damn reaction got blocked, and it got a copyright strike. Not just on YouTube, but on Vimeo of all platforms. What the hell? Anyway, I'll see about that. Maybe I can try again on a different platform like BitChute and see if it'll take. But I think the only persons who will be actually able to view that reaction, I'll try and see if I can find it. It might be up on one of those platforms, really in the deep archives. If not, I think that there's a feature on Patreon where I can actually upload and attach. So if you're a patron and you might want to see that, let me know. Actually, if you are not a patron and you just go to my Patreon, if I can upload it, I'll try and see if I can make it public. To view it, you'll probably have to download to view, but I know that there is an attachment feature that Patreon allows me to do. So let me know if you might want me to do that if you've never seen my reaction to Piper at the Gates, my first copyright strike. Anyways, man, hey, that was excellent. Francisco, thank you very much again, man. This was great. It just comes back to me that I really got to get on my butt and do more Pink Floyd. I've just been letting that go by the wayside a little bit too long. So I want to get on that again, man. Thanks very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you enjoyed this really, really nice going way, way back into the history of Pink Floyd. They were so young back then, man. Damn. They had to have been early 20s then. But masterful from the very beginning. Musicianship on point. Everything was just fantastic. The harmony between David and Richard is really, really good, man. I really like that. The duality is fantastic, man. They're just masterful in every way. 5 out of 5 where it comes to talent, creativity, everything across the board. They're top notch. All right, that's enough for me for now, man. You guys have a good one, and I'll catch you in my next complimentary quad. Peace.